I think it's just wonderful for the city. I think it's wonderful for the cemetery.
There's a lot of famous and infamous people right here in Maple Hill Cemetery.
It makes people aware of what's going on, and it helps contribute to improving the facilities here.
And it's educational for our children and for adults as well.
And I feel very strongly that cemeteries need to be preserved.
It's fun for me to see all the people who come out to see Huntsville's past, and we have a wonderful past. We have characters from every war, even the Revolutionary War, the Civil War. We have very infamous characters such as Molly Teal and the Gypsy, and it's just a day that people from all walks of life come out here and enjoy this beautiful, beautiful cemetery.
Shell came over the Redan and actually exploded right over the top of us. Well, before I was officially a Confederate captain, I was actually the mayor of Huntsville from 1859 to 1860. After Alabama decided to join the secession, then I actually, right here in Madison County, I raised a short, about 300 men artillery battery. So after the battle was over, they were still firing shells back and forth, and I was sitting on a horse next to General Lecter, and a shell came over the Redan and exploded. A sliver of that shell hit General Lecter in the left leg, and then unfortunately a sliver of that shell also hit me and killed me. I'm not exactly sure where I'm buried. Some historians believe that I'm buried at Oakwood Cemetery in downtown Atlanta with 3,000 other Confederate soldiers still today that nobody knows who they are or who they belong to.
Jessup Whitehead could be the subject of a whole book all over again. He wrote cookbooks in his lifetime from the 1870s. He worked with the railroads. I don't know if you've heard of the Harvey House restaurants, but he wrote the cookbooks that they cooked from. If you've ever seen Judy Garland and Harvey Girls, that's what it's talking about. He grew up in England in the Victorian era. His family wanted a farm. They came in the 1850s, got a farm, and he found out that it's not so easy for a traveling man to settle down. So he began working with the railroads, cooked at the resort hotels of the day, in gold camps, wrote newspaper columns, and then collected the newspaper columns to create his books. He came to Huntsville because of the Montesano Hotel. They needed help putting together food that was sufficiently grand but not wasteful, and did a very good job. They loved him, they wanted him to come back, but when he did come back, he was ill, and he passed away before he was able to go in and work the second season.
Well, you know, it's like a Cinderella story. She was born in Decatur and ended up marrying a very rich Argentinian, and then Lord George Curzon, who was former viceroy to India. So she was very active in the social life, hobnobbed with kings and queens, and I believe she said in her book that she started the first cocktail party in London. She had 3 children, a daughter and 2 sons, and after her first husband died, he left her with a great sum of money. And as I said, she was well sought after by a lot of men after that, and she did marry George Curzon. But she loved to socialize and loved to entertain, and she brought the Southern hospitality that we have here in the South to London, and enjoyed every minute of it.
Luke Matthews was one of the original settlers from Virginia. He was a private in the War of 1812, and he moved here and settled in Limestone County in 1822, and he eventually moved into Huntsville. He moved into a home on Adams Street here in Huntsville, and he had 6 sons who served in the Confederate Army. And he later moved to McClung Avenue and lived in a house built by James White McClung, and it was there that he died in 1875. He's an interesting character because there seemed to be so much turmoil in his life. He was almost a lifelong resident of Madison County, Limestone County and Huntsville, but it seemed that his life was always in constant turmoil as far as having to move from place to place and having such a large family and having to keep up with what was going on with his family.
Well, Reverend Bannister, of course, was a very staunch Confederate. They were trying to establish the church, but now he had been to school at Princeton University in New Jersey, so he should know something about the people from the rest of the country, and he was very well educated from a well-to-do family. And they were trying to establish the church here, the Episcopal Church, and he basically was the main lifeblood of the Church of the Nativity, which I think is a beautiful church and a large part of Huntsville's history one way or the other.